So I want to come back to this one. I've gotten some good feedback just saying it just left out some details, and I cut a lot of it out. Let's see this really important building pattern to just get a lot of stuff done with just Supabase. In this example, it's going to show real-time events, but you'll see some other stuff in a moment. But basically, when I add this, we get automatic real-time events because we're using Supabase. Now, on that note, I am logged in, and you could do it without logging in as well, but I'm doing it being logged in. And when you consider that, and I'll show the code in a moment, there's nothing really. And it's not AI, it's just really good patterns here that you can pretty much just plug in. So here I am now logged in, and I didn't write a bit of code for that either. And how this works is combining the Supabase library, which has the password auth system that you can just install with one command, combining that with the Supabase webhooks, which then can trigger N8N actions on a particular event, in this case, when a task is made, and I'll explain that in a moment. We hit my host Docker internal to run the N8N because they're both Docker, so they have to talk that way. And then the N8N does the job to trigger the updates in the UI because it's updating the Supabase nodes. And so at this point, we get that real-time event, even to the point where I could, over here, send an HTTP request back if I needed to the UI for broadcasting. But I don't, because when I do a final update, and actually let me do that right here now that I think about it. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, you know what, when we're done, we're just going to mark this as completed. And just to make sure I do not hit it 100 times, I'll do that. And that would just keep it from doing that. So if we were to run that again, we should go through it. I forget the number I chose. I can reduce it because it would be nice, but we start getting all the output. We see that it's running, and when it's done, we'll see that it's completed. There you go, without any reloading. And again, this is all WebSocket, just standard strategies here. Typically, people are paying for Pusher. I've paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a really good service, but any new project, I don't need to anymore. So what we have is a bunch of traffic coming in here when we load this to listen to the particular WebSockets and then react to them based on how it's set up. How to build this was quite easy, other than reading a docs and following along, other than making sure the particular tables had their real-time events enabled, real-time on, other than you should do row-level security, so this one, because I'm authenticated, was a bit easier. But you can also do anonymous authentication with Supabase, so you can actually do the authentication more simply. And the tables for this example are simple, but remember, you could do a lot with this. If I trigger an event from the front end by writing to the table, then the particular act of writing and having a status then means I can react to that. So on the task insert, we trigger that particular webhook, and that webhook can do things, and then as it's doing things, adding rows, those are other events we're listening to. And then those rows or that process finally marks it as completed. And so we can build off of that. And again, the code to do that, there's just 2 environment variables in this whole file. And the particular code to do that is right here, where I just say, okay, task create is that particular page that we created the task. And we just insert the data there. So it's just using Supabase to do this. So it's really interesting how we can pull this off without a ton of work. When we finally get to the page to look at it, it will register the particular listeners so that it can listen to those events. Here we can see that it's grabbing the tasks singular for it. And then it should get all the children somewhere in here as well. Task rows, task UID. So in here it says, okay, I'm going to go grab those rows. And then each one of those rows is just queries based on the ID, and it just starts getting that data. Oh, and here is the subscription where it subscribes to the particular channel. And I didn't rate any of this, and that's where I want to move into the next one, is that AI lot of the tools we like Lovable and other things, they have a lot of good guardrails and a lot of good ways to prompts to keep the AI on track. And what I'm saying here is I think I can be just as successful with Cursor and consistent if I can keep the AI from writing everything over and over again from scratch and guide it. Maybe there's no B, but my point is, instead of printing Lego bricks with our 3D printer every time we build something, we tell the AI, use these bricks, put them together, and only build something special when we get to that moment of the app that it is special. I almost think like these frameworks or systems that have building blocks like Bubble, or there's so many of them, Flutter, they're hard to grasp as a human, but if they can get AI in there to put the pieces together quickly, they have a leg up on a lot of this stuff. But right now with Cursor, following the practices of Supabase docs, installing their prompts in here. They even have a command to do this. They have a whole page on prompts, and they have prompts you can copy over. I can continue to push the AI in the direction I need to for every single action. Oh, we need a nav. Oh, we need login. Oh, we need logout. We need a file upload. It's all there. So that is one of the other things to point out is like, how do you keep the AI on rails? How do you get it going forward? Here's their drop zone. Here's real-time cursors. Here's real-time chat. And then here's scrolling. Like you just see it's all here for us to use and get going. Again, authentication, it did for me because I ran that command and then Supabase set up all these pages for me to just use. So we have authentication, we have a protection pattern, and so forth. So I want to really show this, how you can get started. There's a lot to go on here too. As you get used to this, you begin to put your migrations in this folder by just having just reading the docs and getting good at it. AI is great, but you could feed it all those docs as well. But part of this is learning how to drive this thing. Like we're autonomous driving, we still have to know how to drive. And from level 1 through 6 of autonomous driving, we're at like level 2 or 3 right now with all of this AI. And so we still need our hands on the wheel as we move to level 4, 5, and 6. And it's going to get there. That's the thing. This isn't, it's not any good. It's just the reality of where it is now and how to drive it. So with that said, Supabase, using their migration patterns, I can get to a point where I just can deploy this to the particular server with just a GitHub action. I meant to show that here, but the GitHub action is just basically Supabase push. Let me grab that one moment. In this GitHub action is just simple. It says, hey, I'm working with Netlify, sometimes Coolify obviously, but I just had to get this out and I was having issues with environment variables, which I think I know why now. I'm new to Next, so I'm still learning a lot. In the technology, you could stick with what you know and make it work, obviously. I'm just excited by how Next works and how it works with Supabase so well. But basically, at this point when this thing's ready to go live, this runs and it just does the push. And I can have another line here that I remove, and you can read their docs, but I don't know what their command is, but just say deploy, for example. So you can deploy all your functions as well. That one I'd have to look up. I removed it because I didn't have any functions and then I had an error. But you get to this point where it's really this easy to deploy this as well to your development or staging or production. So your pattern of working becomes run locally, make your tables, run your command to get the diff, put it into code, and go. So it's a very enjoyable process. Now imagine this was a PDF upload, and on the upload page, you upload it. It puts it into the bucket using the file upload that comes with Supabase, throws it into the bucket. And then you have your webhook listening to that particular bucket. That's just so nice, right? So you could just say, okay, when someone puts something in the bucket, let me see if I care about it. And then when that event comes in, we just have all this information, including past and previous state of that model if it's update. So you can even react on updates based on what has changed. It's pretty darn nice. And so with that said, you could use this pattern for many of those nice interfaces with PDF uploads where here's the first page, second page, here I'm making progress, or you start outputting different parts of the results. And so again, it just pays off. So yeah, that's what I want to show. There's a lot there. It's exciting stuff because it's making it so easy. I do have a forum. If you join, I'll put a link below. You get more access to me and others who are doing this every day for real, building stuff for clients, getting paid, not getting paid, succeeding, failing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. Please join and ask questions and get real answers there from my day-to-day work. All right, enjoy, take advantage of this amazing Supabase product, and let me know what you think.